I am back with a new video. If you are not familiar with this channel is all about small wheel bikes, such as folding bikes, but I make comments on everything else that runs on small wheels, including electrics. I have built what I believe to be the fastest electric Brompton in the world, and I have a whole playlist on various road bikes that try to challenge me, but they never succeed, so check it out. Also, as you can see, my channel is now live on Odysee as well. Odysee is a platform just like YouTube, but it has no ads and no censorship. So if you want to watch my videos without the ads, I guess you might want to follow me on Odysee. You're also welcome to follow me on YouTube. And if something should happen to my channel because of censorship or a technical error or whatever, my Odysee channel should be around. Like pretty much everybody, I have been watching the drama unfold in the Ukraine, and I cannot help noticing how foolish people are to think that they can just pack everything into a car and get out of a city. I am a survivor of the 9/11 attacks in New York City, the blackout that happened also in New York just a few years after that, and I've been observing similar events like that. What happened to us in 9/11 was, since Manhattan is an island and the police assumed that there would be some terrorists or foreign fighters or somebody responsible for the bombing, they locked down the island right away. There was no way to leave Manhattan in a car, a motorcycle, or anything with a license plate on it. However, you could walk across bridges and in tunnels, and you could take a bicycle. And there were people who would steal rental kayaks and pedal across the river, the Hudson River, to the Jersey side. As far as bikes are concerned, people did begin to realize that the bicycle is probably the best way to get out of a dangerous situation like that, unless you wanted to walk. I mean, many people used to commute to Manhattan from 30, 40, 50 miles away. So what they did was, obviously anybody who had a bike used it, but most people did not. So they rushed to the bike shop and they literally bought every bike, not just adult bikes. They bought the little children's bikes made for kids, like 3 wheels, because even that would increase your speed. And if you had to go home 20, 30 miles away, even that was somewhat of an advantage. So by the early afternoon on 9/11, every bicycle was purchased from every bike shop in Manhattan. The bikes were all sold out, absolutely sold out. So that just taught me a lesson, and the fact that I also got home on a bicycle. And I'm looking at the people in New Orleans when the dike burst a few years later. Everybody went into cars, and then they packed the family into cars, and they would sit on the highway for as much as 2 days. The gasoline would run out, and then they would begin pushing the car. This is really an awful way to get out of a city. We had a blackout around the same time in New York. This was after 9/11. I saw there was absolutely no light, no traffic lights. I saw people driving cars into parks, onto the grass, on sidewalks, all kinds of weird things. But the car is really not the best way to get out of an urban jungle at a time of crisis. In fact, it's probably the worst. If there is some kind of a military activity and they are firing on people, it's very easy to spot a car and to track it down. If there's a roadblock, a car is definitely going to be stopped. With a bicycle, not so much. It's very difficult to see it. It can go anywhere. It can go into a forest, into a park. It can be carried over a stream. It can tackle terrain that the car cannot tackle, and it is hidden. Unfortunately, I have also seen a really dramatic footage in the Ukraine of some people trying to get out of a city in cars, and there was some kind of a Ukrainian military group that was really pissed at the people trying to get out, and they would massacre people in the cars. And somebody was filming this on his cell phone, and he would show the bloody bodies inside the car, and then finally he gets shot, and the picture freezes on the last frame. It's really dramatic. So that should be a lesson to anybody. It can happen in any city. It doesn't have to be military action. And just like when the dikes burst in New Orleans, it wasn't anything relating to politics or the military or the blackout. It could be extreme weather. It could be any number of things. A breakdown of the internet, whatever. I believe that everybody who lives in a city should have a bicycle that is maintained in absolute working condition. It is the best way to get around, and it is also the best way to get out. For getting out, you might want to pack a bunch of stuff. At the very least, you should have a very big backpack, not just for yourself, but for everybody in the household. The very least thing you can do if something happens and you need to get out is to load this backpack with your essentials, your IDs, whatever, and get on the bike and get the hell out. If you have more money, you could get a rack. I have a rear rack on my Brompton, but rear racks on small wheel bicycles are kind of problematic. The problem is that the wheel is so low, it's keeping the rack so low that if you load it up, you are going to be kicking the back the whole time you are cycling. So this is not the best way to go. As you can see on this Alex Moulton bicycle, you can see that the rider is trying to pedal, but the only way he's not kicking the bag is because the bag is a specially designed narrow little thing. In most cases, you're not going to be able to pack much in a bag like that. So if you are going to go with the rear rack solution, you are also going to have to get a long and rigid bag that can be attached to the rear of the rack and to the saddle. If you do that, that is going to work, and you can load an awful lot. As you can see here on this Brompton, you can load a ton on the rear, and you can add a huge bag in the front. Plus, you can even carry a huge backpack. So you can carry a lot of weight. You could carry 100 pounds like this, and this would certainly be a lot more effective than loading up a car and getting stuck in traffic for 2 days on end, running out of gasoline and having to push the car, because that's usually what happens. The ultimate hauler for a small bicycle, however, is the rear trailer. You can get a trailer for not a lot of money. Some of them can be had for less than $200, and best of all, many of them have two wheels. That means converting your two-wheel ride into a four-wheel ride and carry an awful lot of weight. You can even put a child in the back. You can put a dog. If you have an electric propulsion system or an electric hub, you can add more batteries to extend your range. And I would say I bought the rear rack, but if I was on the market for something today, I would get the trailer. I would get the trailer because I don't have any problem kicking the bags, and it's a separate unit. You're not putting any extra weight on your Brompton or Moulton, whatever you're riding. It's a separate thing. It's going to add some to the traction, and obviously the more you load it up, the more difficult it's going to be to pull it. But still, if your objective is to carry as much as you can, this is probably the best way to go. The latest trend in cycling is to add solar. You can very easily add a solar panel to a rear trailer, and if you can generate 100 watts of power from the sun, that should be enough for pretty decent moderate speed pedaling with very little effort for as long as there is the sun. So this is just another great way to enhance mobility. Doing a test just to see how far I could get if I was in the capital of the Ukraine and suddenly an attack came and I was on a bicycle. I assume I could very easily cover 200 kilometers, which is probably around 140 miles. I could easily cover, if you're riding with a speed of 15 miles an hour and you ride for 10 hours, then you should be able to cover 150 miles. So that's roughly enough to cover this distance. So I could go this far. In 2 days, I could go twice as far. Yeah, it's probably not even 2 days. In fact, in a desperation, I would probably just do it in 1 day and ride, I don't know, 25 hours in one swing. But the thing is, I could get out of the country in a long day or maybe in 2 days of riding. And I think that's just demonstrates the power of the bicycle, how incredibly agile it is. And unless you need electricity, it doesn't even need any energy from anything. Unless you have a flat tire or something, you are safe. In 2 days, you are in a foreign country and you are safe. So when the attack happened, they could not go north. Maybe they could go east. I could go... Oh, that's not good. That's too far. Yeah, it would probably take me 2 days of riding to reach here. Say if I wanted to escape into Russia, that would work. Whereas in 2 days, it probably would have taken a car 2 days just to get out of the city. If you were in a car, you would probably be stuck here, somewhere in the middle on the main road with everybody trying to get out. So that's just an idea. This is all I have on this topic. Please check out the link below. I'm very excited to have a backup channel on Odysee, and I encourage you to follow me either on YouTube or Odysee.